council. The mayor will ask if a citizen or council member wishes to have any specific item removed from the consent agenda for discussion. Either the public or a council member may request that an item be removed from the consent agenda at that time, prior to council's vote. First item is the approval of the work session and regular minutes for January 26th, special meeting on February 2nd, 2021. And approval of expenditures vouchers of February 9, 2021. C, approval of a renewal hotel and restaurant liquor license with Rudowski Unlimited LLC, DBA Rudowski Unlimited, located at 2310 East Empire Street in Cortez. D, approval of a renewal beer and wine liquor license for Hong Kong Chinese Restaurant Incorporated, DBA Hong Kong Chinese Restaurant, located at 332 West Main Street, Cortez. Approval of a change of premises for a hotel and restaurant liquor license for Mi Mexico Restaurant Incorporated, DBA Mi Mexico, located at 801 East Main Street, Cortez. And F, authorization of the mayor to sign the FAA agreement for transfer of entitlement, transferring $150,000 of fiscal year 2021 federal funds from Cortez Municipal Airport to Colorado Air and Space Port. Are there any questions or comments on the consent agenda?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Huckins,
Aye.
Medina,
Aye.
Lucero,
Aye.
Rainey,
Aye.
Yazzie.
Aye.
Dobry.
Aye.
Levy.
Aye. Thank you. There are no presentations, no public hearings, no unfinished business. Under new business, the first item is a 2021 professional services proposal for Recreation Center HVAC controls. Director of Parks and Rec, Dean Palmquist. Go ahead, Dean.
Thanks, Mayor Mike and City Council. Good evening. Once again, we had some preliminary discussions at the workshop in regards to the rec center HVAC system. And again, we had back in 2018, the spring of 2018, a brand new Carrier HVAC system installed with having Allerton controls through ACS, and had some issues during the install, but they were able to get that corrected, and we closed out the project of August 21st of 2018. We lost in the discussion part of this, we lost the connectivity to the server for the HVAC system in November of 2020. And we've had to work directly with ACS to have the system to, I guess, adjusted when working through them. It has worked, but in a limited capacity. And also with Farmington and Heating, we've worked with them on the actual Carrier unit itself. And we've had, with that, we've had issues. So we have one of two options to go with. One would be to either have ACS come in and fix the connectivity issues with the coding between them and Farmington Heating and Metal, and that would be $2,000 per day with ACS, and then it'd be around $800 per day through Farmington Heating and Metal. And there's no exact date of how much time it would take them to fix that. So, and the last time these two groups were together under warranty, it took 3 weeks to get this taken care of. And so what I'm before you tonight is asking if we can move forward with discontinuing our Allerton controls and switching to the carrier controls, and sole sourcing this out to Farmington Heating and Metal, who was involved when installing the new HVAC system and is familiar with our project. The submitted proposal is for $29,958 with a 10% discount for a total of $26,962.20. And I did want to make one other point, I think, from the council workshop, that by us not going forward with the carrier controls, there was a savings with the project by staying with the Allerton controls. So I believe this cost is something that wasn't, at least a portion of it wasn't occurred during the project. We went forward with our existing controls. So this would just be trying to get the same carrier controls with the same carrier unit, and that we'd be working with Farmington Heating and Metal for all of our needs between the controls and the unit, instead of working with two different entities, one Allerton with the controls and then the other one with Farmington Heating and Metal, as they seem to point fingers at each other with where the issue lies. So I guess with that, any questions from council?
Any questions, council? We discussed this at length in the workshop, so most of our questions were answered then. Okay. Do I hear a motion on this item?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to contract with Farmington Heating and Metal to upgrade to carrier controls for the total amount of $26,962.20.
Second.
Yazzie,
Aye.
Huckins,
Aye.
Dobry,
Aye.
Lucero,
Aye.
Medina,
Aye.
Rainey,
Aye.
Levy.
Aye. Thank you.
you.
Next item under new business is ordinance number 1283, series 2021. City Attorney Mike Green.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Hear you.
Okay. This ordinance pertains to the city seeking voter authority to provide television, cable, specialized services, and other telecommunications systems in the city of Cortez. 2005, the legislature passed a bill which everybody refers to as Senate Bill 152, or as it's now called, 2927-101 Colorado Revised Statutes. What that bill did was it prohibited municipal governments from participating in those select activities. It was something of a protection for private industry. The bill also provided that you could have an election to authorize municipalities to provide those services. At this point in time, the city staff is looking at expanding the existing services, and we would need this authority in order to be able to do it based on opinions from attorney Rick Budden, myself, and it's not a commitment to spend any money. It's not a commitment to provide the services, but it would authorize the city to look into expanding the fiber network into the residential areas of the city. And this is what is envisioned would make it cash flow. We don't have exact numbers of cost because we don't really have the authority to go out and get them. There's a lot of unanswered questions that we would need the authority to get the answers for. So that's why we're asking council to pass this ordinance at first reading, set it for public hearing. I forget what the date is. It's on the ordinance. And set the ballot question. The election itself, the resolutions and other agreements with the county clerk, et cetera, would be presented to you at the second reading to be decided on after the second reading if you if you pass the ordinance. Staff recommends passage of this ordinance to give the city authority to proceed to look into whether or not it's a feasible project and what we should do. Questions?
Thank you, Mike.
Mr. Mayor,
Council. Go ahead, David.
I move that council approve on first reading ordinance number 1283, series 2021, approving a ballot issue to reestablish the right of the city of Cortez to provide high-speed internet services, telecommunications services, and or cable television services, and set a public hearing for February 23rd, 2021.
Second.
Okay, are there any other comments? Orly, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I had a question on that for Senor Green there. On this, like you mentioned already, you answered my one question that it's not a guaranteed money, that if this does pass, that the city's not obligated to do it. You said that, correct? If we
Yes,
don't
sir.
have-
There's a lot of work needs to be done to determine the scope of the project, the cost of the project, the financing of the project and everything. So we're a bit of a ways away from figuring out what to come back and ask you as the board of CCN to look at and approve. There's a lot of pieces that need to come before you so you can make an intelligent decision. And we're trying to get Allo to the table to get more of that info. I shouldn't say we're trying, we're getting Allo to the table to give us more information about the project. This is not, you're not promising to build anything, you're just authorizing the city to look at it at this point.
Okay, thank you. And one more, then we won't be considered a utility.
Not
The
to the
city won't be considered as a utility like the other utilities that are in there, like Baja and all those guys.
Not to the best of my knowledge, I can double check on that.
Yeah, that's the only thing, if you could check on that. Yeah, because I just want to not separate the city to a utility because our commitment is for services to the city. So, all right,
Right.
that's all. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments, council? Could I have a motion on this item, please?
We have a motion by Rainey and a second by Yazzie,
Okay,
correct?
Correct.
Huckins,
Aye.
Lucero,
Aye.
Rainey,
Aye.
Yazzie,
Aye.
Dobry,
Aye.
Medina,
Aye.
Levy.
aye. Thank you. Next item under new business is the set public hearing for new retail marijuana cultivation facility for Chronic Therapy Cortez LLC. City Clerk Linda Smith.
Good evening, council. You guys reviewed the site development plan for the cultivation facility that Chronic Therapy is committing to constructing Cortez on November 10th, 2020, and you had some conditions with that. One of the conditions was the Colorado Department of Transportation. They were doing some research on the road out there, the highway, and how that needed to be fixed. That has been completed, that process. So I'm bringing the liquor license, or I'm sorry, the marijuana application forward to you to set a public hearing so that we can review the process for the licensing part. So I requested that March 9th, 2021 be the date for the public hearing. We have to post the premise, notice will be placed in the newspaper. And we'll get all that in front of city council to see if you are good with approving their license for that cultivation facility. Is there any questions?
I don't have any.
Okay.
Nope.
See any questions or comments? Could I have a motion on this item, please?
I'll make a motion to set a public hearing date of March 9th, 2021 for the review of a new retail marijuana cultivation facility for Chronic Therapy Cortez LLC, doing business as Chronic Cultivation, 1020 South Broadway, Cortez.
Second.
Rainey,
Aye.
Lucero,
Aye.
Medina,
Aye.
Huckins,
Aye.
Yazzie,
Aye.
Dobry,
Aye.
Levy.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item is resolution number 3, series 2021, City Clerk Linda Smith again, and City Attorney Mike Green.
This
Mike-
is all
Mike,
Linda's
go ahead.
idea, so.
Okay,
This is all Linda's
Um,
idea to present.
Good evening, council. Again, I'd like to bring forward an offer to waive our fees to certain licenses in the city for the 2021 year to help out some of our licenses that haven't been able to be open at full capacity. Some haven't even been able to be open. The state had offered a grant for this same type of thing. We couldn't apply for it because we can't get grants right now due to our audit situation. So I was hoping to bring this forward just to tell you about the opportunity I would like to present to our licensees. We have 27 liquor licensees this would affect. I'm asking for the beer and wine, the hotel restaurant, the tavern, the arts, and the brew pub liquor license to receive their city fee back for this year. It's about $175 to each of them. That's about what the fee would be. So I just thought I would throw that out there. If we could have talked about it in the workshop, I could have explained a little bit more about that grant. But if you guys have any questions on it, I'm happy to answer them. I just think it would be a great opportunity for us to do that this year for our licensees. So, Mike, do you have anything you want to add, or is that presented
Yeah,
well enough?
part of the reason we couldn't do this, remember, wasn't it the county wasn't participating in the grant cycle as well? There was, it's more than just us not having audits done. The county needs to get
Right.
this money, and so it wasn't available to these people. So Linda thought that we could do it on our own by waiving the fees.
Well, Linda, I read this proposal and I thought it would be a good way to just help out our businesses. So I'm in favor.
Thank you. I think it's a small token, but it's all we could do, to really on our side. I'm hoping maybe the state might follow in line to do the same thing for some of them this year. I didn't include the liquor stores. They've been able to stay open. I didn't include like our fermented beers, like Walmart, our grocery stores, because they've all been able to stay open. So it was just for that specific group that has really been affected by this.
Can we as the city council advocate on behalf of the city to the state to try and get them to waive those fees for this year? This year?
We could do that. Send a letter to our, to the Liquor Licensing Enforcement Division and ask them if they're considering it. I don't know if they are or not, but I know that they let the food industry, the food license for 2021, they waived that this year. The state did, but I know they're two different divisions. So I don't think it hurts to ask for us to ask.
Would we be able to
And
make, sorry,
Yeah, it's a $500 fee for renewals for most of our licensees and so to the state. And that's a pretty, that's a lot.
would we be able to include a second motion to have the city write a letter and advocate on behalf of the city for those state taxes or license fees?
Sure.
You just do a second motion and a voice vote authorizing the clerk to send it up to licensing to waive fees. You could probably make it part of this motion if you wanted to.
Well, before we roll into the motion, I would like it to be publicly noted that I'm no longer under employment for a local brew pub. So that I can stay in this vote. Just wanted to let you all know that.
I had a quick question here before the motion. When you said certain, I can see what you're saying by certain. Like you said, the restaurants and all, but don't you think we ought to treat everybody the same for this?
Well, I took the information from the grant. If you want to include the fee to everyone, I just made it equal to what the grant was offering. They weren't offering to the liquor stores or the fermented grocery stores that have been able to stay open. But if council would like to do that, that's probably another. We have 4 liquor stores in Cortez, and maybe it includes all like our speedways and all our little gas stations. If you guys want to include them, you could. It's probably another 15 licenses. So I just was matching my letter to what the grant offered and kept it at that, since that's what the grant was going to be. So if you guys want to do it the same for everyone, we can do that as well.
It might be a good thing to let them know that we support them, our local businesses. I think that would be a noble gesture.
I just thought I'd just throw that idea.
Certainly offer it.
I kind of like the sentiment that it's for the local businesses that had to shut down because, we're excluding basically the chains in our community, and it's really the families that have small businesses here that are suffering. So if this is something we can help them with, and it matches the grant, it makes sense to me.
I just thought I'd throw that out there because they pay taxes also, so. Sales tax.
Orly, I see what you're saying. They all, the liquor stores and other grocery stores and stuff were all able to stay open as essential businesses throughout the whole year. Whereas we, with this, would be protecting or kind of helping the small businesses who have been impacted.
Yeah, I think we should do everything we can to help the small businesses, like you say, the chains and the liquor stores. They're doing a really good business even during the COVID. But the small businesses and restaurants, they've had to cut back on the occupancy, and they've lost business. And a lot of them, weren't available to have liquor distributed, if they're on takeouts. So I think we should do it for the small businesses in town. They deserve all of the help we can give them.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 3, series 2021, approving the city waiving fees for certain liquor licenses, bars, and restaurants for the 2021 license year, and as well as direct staff to prepare a letter to advocate for the state to do the same.
Second.
Huckins,
Aye.
Rainey,
Aye.
Lucero,
Aye.
Yazzie,
Aye.
Dobry,
Aye.
Medina,
Aye.
Levy.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. I think this is a great thing you did tonight.
Thank you for bringing it to us, Linda.
Thank you, Linda. Good job.
Good job, Linda. Okay. Next item under new business is hybrid in-person versus Zoom council meetings. Council will discuss having hybrid in-person meetings or Zoom council meetings. We're just going to open it up to the council. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I asked that this be put on the agenda because I figured it would be easier for us to talk about it. And I think that there are some members on council who would like to be back in chambers, myself included. And so I just wanted to put it on the record and to propose that the members that would like to come back to council chambers do so and keep the doors closed to the public. And so public comment still continues to be on Zoom.
Would that also include staff?
I believe that yourself, Linda, and John, I would prefer to have you three in that council chambers. Permitted you feel comfortable.
And then the rest of the staff would be by Zoom with the public. Okay.
And I believe that that would satisfy the space calculator requirements from the state as well, considering the space of the council chambers.
Well, Arlena, would you be wearing masks?
Absolutely. I would personally be wearing masks and still social distancing just as I was before.
I guess I would ask, because I feel like we're gonna need to make a plan to eventually all meet back in person, because the reason we're meeting over Zoom is we've got an emergency declaration, we're in a pandemic, but eventually those things will go back to normal to some extent. So do we want to line our plans up with like the COVID dial? So, now that the county's in yellow, maybe we feel more comfortable with a hybrid meeting, but we're still restricting limited staff and no public, make them still, comment over Zoom or have a different room set up from them so we don't come into contact with them. And then maybe if we move to blue on the dial, we start to let it like a few more people come into the room to, so that we're still staying within the restrictions. And then if we go back to orange or red, then we do full Zoom. I guess what is everyone comfortable with? Because this is about making sure all of our needs are met while also performing our duties to the best we can.
Could I make a suggestion? Could those be two separate items? In other words, make a motion to go back to the hybrid. The people that want to stay home can, the people that want to show up can. You have limited staff in the room. And then let's see if we can get some information for you about getting some determining factors as to when we should do what that makes sense. I mean, I think I got to admit, I'm shooting from the hip if I say, oh, we get the blue, just open the doors, let everybody in, and then 2 days later it goes to purple or orange or some other crazy color. And I don't know what to tie it to. Maybe we could find some examples. And when the state undeclares the emergency, that's going to take care of it for sure. But I'm at a loss as to what to recommend for between now and then.
Well, and I just want to add that we will always adhere to the mask mandate while that's in place, and just because we're meeting in person doesn't mean we're not going to socially distance or wear our masks.
And staff would as well.
Can Can we break down the benefits of a couple people being in the chambers and a couple people being on Zoom, as far as it seems like the folks that are in chambers, the benefits might be that you get to talk with each other before and after meetings, which the Zoom folks wouldn't be able to do. And if citizens aren't invited in and still showing up via Zoom, then it's not to have interaction with the constituents. So maybe if you could point out a couple more benefits of returning into the chambers, if you could.
One of the benefits I would say is that we're kind of showing both the community and our employees that with the proper precautions, you can still operate. We can still do business in a relatively normal way as long as we're doing kind of taking the precautions that we need to.
Well, Robert, if I might take issue with that, everything we've done according to the books has not necessarily made a dent in our community, and our numbers are still going up. Since January the 1st, we've had an increase of 444 cases. So I'm perfectly comfortable with Zoom. I know there are advantages for meeting in person. I certainly enjoy that, but I'm just uncomfortable with having in-person meetings and possibly giving people the message that things are getting back to normal, because I don't think that's the case yet.
Well, we would obviously be following the state guidelines. We wouldn't be having any more people in the room than we're allowed to have. We would be limiting to the state guidelines. I kind of think that we need to be trying to get back to normal as soon as we can, and that part of that process may be that we eventually get the whole council in the chamber, and maybe we can't have extra, we can't have the public in the chamber yet due to the numbers. But I do think because these are public meetings, we need to be open. We need to be together as a board as much as we can.
Well, I look forward to that time also, but I just don't feel comfortable yet.
I agree with you, David.
I guess I would say, and I think that was a good question, Amy, about the benefits. I guess I would see one benefit is if we can have essentially an in-person public comment, whether they be, but it could be in a different room, because I think there's a portion of our community that may not be able to participate in these meetings anymore because they are all virtual. But that's an assumption. And so being able to provide an in-person, with rules, safely done, access to communicate with council, might be a good reason to go that way eventually. I don't know.
I believe that Councilman Dobry made a really good comment the other day about why is it that our city staff is in their offices and we're still appearing virtually. Like, it feels improper where we can't even have even half of our council appear in chambers where the space is large enough to accommodate us. So I thought that was a really great comment by him, and it felt wrong, honestly.
Well, I can see the benefits to both sides. I think it's important we get back to normal as soon as we can, and interact with the public in person as much as we can. But I think it's also important to respect the wishes of the members that aren't comfortable at this point meeting in person. The vaccinations are being implemented around the city, you know, and some people have gotten their vaccinations and some haven't. So that might factor into the whole equation. And, but I think at this point, you know, I would recommend, you know, we vote on returning to hybrid meetings and then see how the state guidelines follow after that. You know, if the emergency is lifted, then we can go back to in-person meetings. But, you know, I think there's benefits to both sides.
Yeah. I agree that there's, like, they created this dial, right? This is dial 2.0 to be more fluid. Like, I don't see why we can't also be fluid with whether or not we're hybrid or whether or not we're Zoom.
Mhm.
And I'm entirely keeping in mind, like, the comfort level, or, you know, the comfort level of our council members that don't want to show up in person, and I respect that. Like, I don't see that there would be any difficulty in, like, if we went into level orange again, that we would just go back to being all Zoom.
Another idea is like some of the people that are not comfortable meeting in person, they might be more of an at-risk population, you know, due to existing medical health conditions or age-related things. You know, that might be a factor in some of the decisions to go hybrid or Zoom. That's my thoughts about that.
Furthering the talk on accessibility for the constituents, what is the plausibility of being able to set up a room that is adjacent or in the city hall and have it have good ventilation and have people being able to, I don't know, I'm just spitballing here. Like, is that a possibility to have people come into the building, talk for 4 minutes safely? I don't know. What are your thoughts there?
Well, there's where we would normally have our work sessions, right? You can open both doors to that room, correct?
We could,
sides of that room.
Arlene, our only place that we have cameras is in our city council chambers. We don't have cameras in your workshop session room. I don't know if IT can set them up, but there are not cameras set up for our streaming in your work session room.
Yeah, there is.
What about just like a laptop with a video?
well, we'd
Can
also.
we do that, John?
We can do it in Mesa Verde room.
Mesa Verde room? Okay.
Well, you're also looking at not just providing a camera, but somebody out there managing the people coming in and out, making sure, so you're putting a staff member, I don't know, I want to say at risk, but you are putting somebody out there to sort of guide people through, the person who doesn't know how to use the computer, you know, to show them how to turn it on, to make sure it works. So I don't know if we could investigate it, but if somebody wanted to make a motion to go to the 3 and 4 version, 4 people in chambers plus the 3 staff members, and then we can come back to you and see if we can get a plan where we can figure out how to get people somewhere at a camera so they could be they're still at a camera though. That's the problem. They're not really in person in front of you, so I'm not sure. But we can look at that and see if we could set it up, Councilwoman Hawkins. I mean, I think it's a good idea. I'm just not sure of the logistics.
And then also, as we're talking about logistics, just making sure, remembering that recent past experience of not being necessarily able to hear everybody that was in chambers. So maybe if we could do a sound check, and then also if it's possible to have like the timer up in the window at all, the 4-minute, or just have somebody cue that. These are just things that I'm remembering off the top of my head to try to do logistics for.
Yeah, I feel like generally we need to be more mindful of the 4-minute allotment per comment, whether or not we're hybrid or Zoom.
Mhm.
I second that, Arlena.
Yeah, I guess this is off topic too. And is it that one person per comment section can speak, or can they get up repeatedly and speak?
What we've done in the past is the person gets up and speaks. Everybody else in the room that wants to gets up and speaks. And then it's up to the mayor to say, yeah, you can speak again or not, or, and we need to develop maybe some better rules, which is, we've been trying to get to, but everything else seems to get in the way. But we, that's, one way to do it is you get one shot, 4 minutes, and no, you don't get your buddy's time. So you have 8 minutes. And after the 4 minutes, everybody else in the room gets to talk. And if the mayor feels there's time, he can let somebody else talk or not. It's kind of how we've been trying to work it.
I think that might be a good conversation at our retreat to discuss the container of our meetings so that we can operate more effectively.
Because I've noticed we've also stopped getting addresses from our public comment folks.
Ooh, this is good stuff. All right.
One of the things about the addresses is I wonder, Linda, if there's some way we could get the addresses from the people that are speaking to you instead of making it public. Is that a possibility? Because some people that have given their name and address under controversial subjects feel somewhat threatened maybe by giving their address, their location. Is that something we could possibly look into?
Certainly, I'll try to find out some different ideas on how that's doing. When we're in person, we can easily circulate a sheet, which has been done many times before at public hearings, with people's addresses, and they don't have to say them at the podium. But I'm not able to see addresses on the Zoom. I am able to see their email addresses, but not their addresses. So we'll see if we can figure out how we can do that better, but I'm not positive on the Zoom side. I do know in person how to do that better.
Okay.
But I
If
don't know on the other.
In certain instances, if people want to testify, they have to say their address in order for us to be able to qualify them to be able to make a statement. Like some of the hearings for licenses and other things, only certain groups of people can get up and talk for a public hearing. Public comment at the end of the meeting, pretty much anybody can get up and talk and say anything they want. There's no limitations on where you live or what, but there are limitations on certain types of, I think the marijuana license talks about only 3 or 4 different groups of people can speak, not everybody. And so the address thing is sometimes critical to the person who wants to get up and address you folks. So we'll have to look at it, but we may not be able to keep it a secret. It's part of the record. I mean, it's going to be typed up in the, the witness testimony parts at some point. It's going to be available, so you're not going to keep it hidden.
Okay.
The one other thing, and I'd be happy to make a motion in a second, but the one other thing that I did want to check in on this topic is just about the possibility of Zoom for executive sessions. We're going to be having a lot of executive sessions over the next few weeks and months with hiring a new city manager. And with it just being a phone call right now, I do think we're really missing out on kind of being able to come together. That may be solved by the executive search firm providing some of that service to us, but I did want to check in with staff about the option of having Zoom executive sessions as opposed to conference call.
And I'll add to that. The conference call system that we have is is extremely hard to hear other people talking on there. It's just impossible to get all the context.
We can look into that. I had asked about that earlier, but we weren't able to do it. So let me see what we can do.
Thank you.
And then, sorry, and then for this motion, sorry, sorry, Robert, and I'm glad you're doing it because you're good at making motions. So for this like first thing that we're making a motion about, it is just about having the council members that are willing to show up in person and then the 3 staff.
To return to a hybrid meeting. Yeah.
Okay, and it's not about, we're not to that point yet to, like, we need to figure out first how we'll bring public in safely to do their comment and make it more equitable for them to provide comment.
Yeah, I think we should probably just make a second motion and ask staff to investigate ways to allow public comment in person so that we're fully accessible to all the parts of our community. But
so to be even more clear, so this would be hybrid for city council members to be on Zoom and staff, except for the 3 staff. And then constituents for public comment will be showing up via Zoom.
That's a totally separate thing because the staff's gonna have to
But well, for this first one, I want to know what I'm voting on. So
yeah, I'll make it clear in the motion.
But this, I'm just saying, so this one is with no public arriving into the chambers, right?
Yeah, just to return to a hybrid meeting with limited staff and
Doors closed. Yeah.
Okay. Let it roll.
All right, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to return to the hybrid in-person / Zoom council meetings with limited board and the limited staff required to help run those meetings.
Second.
1 second. So limited board, meaning if all 7 people wanted to show up, then
If all 7 people wanted to show up, I think we can do that. As long as we're under the state mandate number, I think is what I am trying to include in that. So board and limited staff maintaining. Let me just rephrase the whole.
Should we cap it at like 10 people in the room? Because that would leave room for 7 council members and then Linda, John, and the attorney.
what about police presence? Is that needed for deputy?
With it like the room closed, I don't know that it's necessary.
Okay.
But let me just try and rephrase and then we'll go from there. I'd like to make a motion to return to the hybrid in-person / Zoom council meetings, allowing for as many board as would like to attend, as well as the necessary staff up to the state limit.
Mike Green
think
question.
so.
Don't you have to rescind the previous one?
Wait, John, are you going to say something?
Don't you have to rescind the previous one?
John, are you talking right now? I can't hear
Yeah.
you.
He's asking if we need to rescind the previous one. Linda, am I okay just saying I'm rephrasing that being a rescinding of the previous one?
That's how I'm gonna put it on the minutes.
Okay, thank you.
The first motion and then you're rephrasing it.
Okay.
And
Thanks,
does this mean we could start at the next meeting after this
You
motion?
say so. Put a
Okay.
starting date on it.
Starting at the next meeting.
Second.
So Medina seconded the first motion and this time we're having Yazzie second the motion. Is that correct? So that's what I'll put on the minutes.
Right.
Okay. Dobry,
Aye.
Huckins,
Aye.
Lucero,
Aye.
Rainey,
Nay.
Medina,
Aye.
Yazzie,
Aye.
Levy.
Aye. Thank you. We can discuss this at our retreat some more, all the details. So I'm looking forward to that too.
Yep, I appreciate everybody
Yeah.
discussing this. I really do. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Thank you all. Okay, that covers the new business. There's no draft resolutions or ordinances, other business items of business. 8B is approve the contract with Peckham and McKinney.
Yes, sir. So we don't need the executive session. We just
Right.
put that on every meeting while we're doing the manager search in case we need to go into one.
Right.
So we just need a motion.
No, we don't need anything.
We don't need
just
anything.
move on.
So you don't need the contract approved, Mike?
I thought
For
we did.
Peckham and McKinney?
I'm sorry. I thought we approved it. I apologize. No,
Did we not approve after our last special meeting?
we didn't have a contract. I think Linda's right. The contract, it's not on my agenda to approve the contract, and that's why I didn't say it.
It was the amended agenda
Okay.
that went out yesterday.
So there's an amended agenda item where the contract from Peckham and McKinney was sent to us, and it was sent to you folks. Staff recommends approval. It's an extremely simple, easy contract written by their attorney. If anybody has any questions,
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah.
I make a motion to approve the contract for Peckham and McKinney.
Amy, do you have a question?
No, I was just going to make a motion. Thanks.
Okay, go ahead,
I
Orly.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead, Orly.
Yeah, Mike said their attorney wrote it and it's okay, or did you proofread it too?
yes, sir. I read it. Do not have any problems with it. He describes things pretty much as he described them to you.
Okay, I was just gonna say, because the way you stated there, it's like their attorney wrote it. I guess it's okay. I just want to make sure you approved it too.
No, I just, lately we've been getting some contracts from people who aren't attorneys that are kind of strange. And so I think this fellow knows what he's doing and he's got the pertinent salient points down.
Okay, I was just double checking on that.
Yes, sir.
Thanks.
Mr. Mayor, we have a raised hand. Someone would like to make a comment, I believe.
This isn't a public comment section.
No, it is not.
Okay, my bad.
I have a motion from Yazdi, but I did not receive a second.
Second.
Yazdi,
Aye.
Dobry,
Aye.
Huckins,
Aye.
Lucero,
Aye.
Medina,
Aye.
Rainey,
Aye.
Cheek. Oh, I am sorry, lady. Where did that come from? Sorry, Mike.
Aye.
That was a mess up. That's an old sheet. Sorry, Mike. I apologize.
I missed it.
It's late.
Sheet/lady.
Aye.
Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
Sorry for that.
I forgive you. Okay,
Thank you.
next item is citizen participation. Comments may be limited to 4 minutes per person. Please comment on items not listed as a public hearing. Council may or may not respond to comments. Okay, I see one hand raised. Tiffany Gear, go ahead. Unmute yourself. There you go.
I did. First and foremost, I owe you and your wife, Gail, a huge apology. I want to make that public. The woman identified to me with the bear spray and the wasp spray pointed at me was falsely identified to me by numerous people as your wife, and I'm going to publicly apologize, and I'm going to opt out of listing the name of the person. I waited to make the public apology until the police investigation was done. So I do apologize for any undue justice or hardship that has put on you guys. And I made a mistake and I have no problem owning that as a person. I do want to comment on Brandon's Gate. I live in Brandon's Gate. There is very little maintenance that gets done in Brandon's Gate. The roundabouts are also owned by the city. And as homeowners, we have to consistently call and complain about the lack of maintenance done from the city. I realize their resources are stretched thin, especially through COVID. But those roundabouts are nothing but weeds. I was informed when I built in this subdivision 8 years ago that as more people built in this subdivision, that fee would go down. And now we're talking about it going up almost double the fee with incremental increases as time goes on. And more people own property in here. And yet the job that's supposed to be done is not being done. Now, as far as Brandon's Lane, that's very well maintained. That area is mowed and kept up pretty well. The trees are maintained in the area, but the roundabouts are not. So one thing you look at Montezuma Avenue, it's a historical division. Those homeowners don't pay for Montezuma, the medians in Montezuma, to be maintained. I don't understand why, as homeowners living here, we have to pay to maintain this area when it's no different than any part of the city. Brandon's Gate butts up against to the county line. We're still part of city limits. I do implore the city council to set out a hearing, a public hearing where people are notified that live in this area of what's being suggested, what's being imposed, and get public comment, because I'm not the only one that has to call and complain to the city that the roads aren't plowed, that the roundabouts aren't maintained, that there's water leaks, numerous things. We do not have an HOA. What we have is covenants. So the couple of areas that were referred to as pocket parks, so that those areas, as far as our covenants, there is no allowance for xeriscaping, and they are not pocket parks. They're merely areas of grass that are not utilized by the public here. So I think public input is very important, and I do believe that the public should be able to attend. You have a large amount of people that are not tech savvy that should need to attend city council meetings. They're incapable of running a Zoom meeting or other things. Those people, the seating should be reserved for them to be able to attend. Thank you.
Thank you, Tiffany. Are there any other comments from the public? I don't see any. City attorney's report, there is none. City manager report. Are there any city council committee reports? Anyone? Okay, I attended a Zoom meeting for it was given by the Colorado Library Board, Essentials for Library Boards. And it was an informational Zoom meeting given by Crystal Schimpf from the Colorado Library Board. And she described some of the duties and responsibilities and areas that the library boards, advisory boards are responsible for. And it was very informative, and quite a few of the library board, advisory board members were in attendance. So that was a very good information gathering situation. See, on the workshop, we were introduced to the finance director, Kelly Koski, and the airport manager, Jeremy Patton. And also we had a presentation by the Montezuma local news people. We had a discussion on the rec center HVAC system. We had a report on the Brandon's Gate and Rodeo subdivision landscaping procedures. And we had a presentation by the USI, the broker for the city's employment insurance. And then we had a council discussion. Are there any other items that council wants to bring up?
The only thing I wanted to bring up is to welcome Commissioner Lindsay as the Cortez representative who will be attending our meetings now instead of Commissioner Candelaria, who had in the past. So thank you for attending.
I second that. Thank you, Mr. Lindsay.
I have a comment, a little PSA as well. Oh, sorry, were you going to say something?
No, just thanks for having me.
Good seeing you, Kent.
Good to see
I just
you.
wanted to let folks know on YouTube watching live that as of yesterday, February 8th, Colorado is in vaccine distribution phase 1B .2. So Coloradans aged 65 to 69, pre-K 12 educators and childcare workers and licensed care programs in continuity of state government are allowed to now get vaccines. So if you are in that age group or in those categories, I highly encourage y'all getting your vaccines. So
Thank you.
just wanted to make sure to let everybody know.
Thank you, Arlena. Any other comments or questions or?
Yeah, I had a question for you.
Go ahead,
say,
Orly.
when they're going to start 60 and above?
16 above. Let me look at the thing.
Not just joking.
I don't know.
Fine, whatever.
When we're done with 1B2.
All right, just
Your time's coming, Orly.
Yeah.
Be patient. Okay, any more comments, questions? Seeing none, I declare this meeting adjourned. Good evening, folks, and thank you for